Welcome back again, guys. I know that it's been a very long time since I uploaded my last YouTube video, and I think it's around probably 5 months or so. However, during this time, I've been receiving a lot of good messages from you guys on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on YouTube as well. And in fact, many people has also suggested me to continue making more and more videos. So that's why I have finally decided to be very much active on YouTube now onwards. And I've also planned a series which is distributed databases. Basically, I've designed the series in such a way that it will also help you in interviews for SD1 and SD2 roles and at your job as well. Okay, so let's talk about all the topics which I am gonna cover in this particular series. So in order to learn any major topic, you need to first learn the fundamentals of that, right? So over here as well, before learning the distributed databases, we'll first learn the database fundamentals. So in the database fundamentals, we'll mainly focus on where the data is stored and how the data is stored by the database. And we'll also see why the data retrieval process is slow in the database and how we can improve that. Okay, so for that, we'll be learning different types of indexes like B-tree, hash index, geospatial index, and inverted index. Later, we'll learn about transaction and ACID properties with the help of real-world examples. Okay, and in ACID properties, we'll mainly focus on I, which is isolation, and D, which is durability. So in isolation, I'll be covering the different types of isolation anomalies and different types of isolation levels, which are used to prevent those anomalies. And in D, we'll be covering the write-ahead logging. After that, we'll learn about concurrency control, which is used by the databases to prevent this isolation anomalies and provide data consistency. So there are many types of concurrency control techniques, but we'll be mainly focusing on the most popular ones, which is pessimistic concurrency control and multi-version concurrency control. So till here, whatever we would be learning will only involve one single database, right? But eventually your application will grow, right? So once your application grows, you need to scale your database as well. Okay. So under scaling, we would be learning about vertical and horizontal scaling. And for horizontal scaling, we have to learn sharding. And once you learn sharding, you would come to know that sharding introduces many problems. So we have to deal with those problems as well. Okay. And later we'll also learn something called as consistent hashing, which is one of the most widely used hashing technique for sharding. Okay. Now just imagine that you have stored your data in one of the data center and one of the country shoots a missile on the data center. So obviously the data which is stored in the data center will lost, right? You lose that data. So we need to learn something called as availability, wherein we duplicate our data. Okay, so for that we'll learn three different replication techniques like single leader, multi-leader, and leaderless. And in each of this replication, you'll face various challenges. So we need to deal with those challenges as well. For example, in multi-leader, because we have multiple leaders, we might have a write conflict. So we need to detect the conflict and resolve that as well. So we'll learn about that too. And in leaderless, we'll learn something called as read and write quorum, which is basically used to provide strong consistency in a database. Okay. Then we'll learn something called as consensus, like what is a consensus and why we need consensus. Okay. And over there, we'll also learn one of the popular algorithm, which is raft consensus algorithm, which is basically used for leader election process. We are learning this because this leader election process will eliminate most of the challenges present in single leader and multi-leader replication. Okay. Later, we'll also see one of the dangerous problem in distributed databases, which is split brain problem. So we'll try to understand what exactly that problem is and how that problem can be avoided. Okay. And then finally, we'll talk about distributed transaction. So over here, whatever you would be learning in the transaction part, that would only involve one single database, right? But since in large application, we have more than one databases, we need to learn about distributed transaction as well. So in distributed transaction, we would be having multiple protocols. The first one is the two-phase commit. Okay, so we'll learn that first. And Obviously that has a very serious problem, so we'll discuss about that. And after two-phase commit, we'll also discuss about saga pattern. So in saga pattern, we have two types, orchestration and choreography. So we'll learn both of the type, and we'll also see some points which you need to keep in mind, like idempotency, cyclic dependency risk, etc. And finally, we'll discuss that which pattern you can choose in what scenarios. Okay, like should you be choosing orchestration or should you be choosing choreography? Okay, so this would be the entire flow of this particular series, and I think it would have around 15 to 16 videos. Okay, so please guys, hit that like button so that more and more people can get benefited of this series, and obviously I can also get benefited by getting more views. Okay, so see you in the next video.